G'day everybody, welcome to this video. We're going to be talking about Bounty Hunter in the Legends bracket. So this is a game of my friend's. He's uncalibrated because he predominantly plays party. You can see the rankings down here, but he's basically a Legend 2-star, roughly. I actually have no idea what the MMR is around all the various badges. I haven't kept up. I think I've read about it, but I've since forgotten it. But this is Legend DotA. So he doesn't win this one. What we're gonna do is just watch his play and focus on his play only. It's a Legends game, so I'm sure there's gonna be all sorts of wacky things, possibly. I hope so. I actually hope so. So I remember when I was just starting out Dota and was well below Legend, and that was fun times. So yeah, look, we're just gonna get straight into it. So here, 1 minute before the horn, play on. I'll try to keep this as focused and as quick and as compact and limited to the bounty himself as we can. Just because I know my videos can drag out a little bit. So he's doing something really good at the start of this. You know, he's scouting out the rune. Where's the other support? Ideally, you'd have, you know, your slider here too or something for kill potential, but he's in the fountain. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of things like that. Unfortunately, I'll go back here. This is important, and I want to show this in slow-mo. So right here, he's not invis. And if I can, there it is. So switching vision between Radiant and Dire here. So he sees him, he sees the PL and then goes invis, right? So that's the wrong way to do it. You want to be invis before you see the enemy, because if you're not, it's very simple. If you're not invisible, then the enemy can see you and they know that you're there. So it's simple. I don't think the PL or the SD even saw him because it was a very quick window when he turned the corner. But he was visible. So, you know, if they had a stun or something, if that dust, for example, that could be a potential death for bounty. So they're going for rune. I want to slow this down. Because it's important to look at the mechanics here. So with Shadow Walk, you get extra damage during the first fade time when you go into it, if you do an attack then, and then you go get damage when you leave fade time. So it's important, if you're like in this situation, to get this, make use of this about to be lost bonus damage, right? So we'll let it play. I don't think he does. I think he's just sitting on the rune. So that's 30 damage wasted before he attacks. He's now out of invis, and now he attacks. So he's not used either of those possible extra damages from the first Shadow Walk. He did get the rune though, so that's really nice. And is making the right kind of play. Macro play you'd call it, if not micro. So that extra damage comes in really important here, right? Because he's 190. And you see he's gone invis and has not attacked during that fade time. In the guide, you can look at that section for more comprehensively to see how that interaction works. But it's 30 damage that's not gone on. And you see how much extra... Oh, it actually cancels the animation though. But you would see how much extra damage it deals. It's quite significant early. An extra 30 damage is basically more than 50% extra damage. So it's like a extra Janata, you know. Yeah, okay. So that's the first thing. So a lot of this video should be about mechanics more than anything else. We'll focus on other stuff like macro play. Actually, this is a good time to stop and assess the lanes, right? So as a bounty, you're roaming, right? 90% of the time you've got to be roaming. So as with all roaming heroes, it's difficult. It's a difficult role because you have to be able to assess every lane and say, this is what I can do for that lane, and this is what the lane will look like if I don't do anything for that lane. and then you say, what's the best impact that I can make, and you try to do that. So sometimes you're needed, sometimes you're not needed. In a mid clockwork versus Lina lane, I would say the Lina wins this 95 times out of 100. If both players are using their heroes to their actual uh, maximum efficiency, or even close to that. I don't think that's happening. I think the Clockwork's a much better player here, as you can see. I don't know how many of those denies are actually like cog denies or something, but yeah. So Bounty Hunter as a hero wants to go mid lane, but I'll show you here why sometimes that's not very good. That's really, really negligible harass. He doesn't even have to use a tango on the clock. He's got a stout shield, he's got a mango, he's got regen out of the wazoo. The Lina should be harassing him a lot. I don't think he can. I don't think you can see him when he's on high ground because they don't have a high ground ward or anything. Yeah. There you go, Crib walked up. But yeah, the Lina should be harassing him to make it possible, but that's not happening. There's a mechanical thing here. A lot of the time, it seems like all brackets, wards along this area and, to a lesser extent here and to an even lesser extent here are pretty common. But predominantly here. So this ward here, if I show Radiant Vision, if we show Radiant Vision, as a bounty player, you think you'll be sneaky around here, right? You'll think, oh, maybe he wasn't seen. Alright, maybe he wasn't seen because he was there. But point is, it's try to be careful around this particular vision. Like if you can go up to here on the high ground, that's ideal when you go in and out. And the same is true if you can go inside this little corner and this uphill here. So then wards on the river here don't get seen. So where are we? So we're looking for a career snipe now at 1 minute 30 in. And most of the time that'll be a good play. If you can get the courier, it's better than a kill, and it can be more impactful and harmful to the enemy mid laner. Fortunately, he didn't get it, and that's because the Clockwork both does not need anything. He's got regen, he doesn't need much, and there's no real item. He's not going to be getting a soul ring or a bottle or even boots. He doesn't really need anything. I mean, maybe he does get bottle, I don't know, but whatever. So as bounty, we're moving up. We're going to the top lane here, and I'll show you why. Well, securing runes. Securing runes is really good, right? Two free resources. Anybody can get them. It's good for bounty's own progression to get them, as well as taking it away from the enemy. So from this point, we've established the mid lane is kind of a no-go zone, especially since the Lina doesn't have anything in Fiery Soul. So his actual damage potential and right-click potential is pretty low. Even though especially because he's got a drow, he should be getting Fiery Souls. Anyway, so you look at top, you look at the side lanes now. Just as a blanket rule, mid lane's not a good lane right now. You can't go there. So you look at the other lanes. So you go top lane, 1 vs 1 versus the drow. Sorry, 1 vs 1 drow versus Weaver. This is a really tough lane for kill potential on the Weaver. You could maybe harass the Weaver a little bit, but he's got Tango and he's got Sakuchi, and you don't have Senshus or anything. It's a pretty low percentage play, or low impact play. But high percentage, low impact, you would say. The other question is, so we've established that the Weaver, you can't really do a lot to him. The next question is, will it help your drow a lot? And the answer is really no. Drow's probably going to farm just as much. He might get under a little bit of right click pressure, but he should lose this lane, the drow, but it shouldn't lose it by that much. He's also, drow's going to get a lot of levels out of this as well. Weaver doesn't have a great right click animation, so it's not particularly good for denying. So top's a bit of a draw. Generally speaking, top's a bit of a draw. The lane that you probably, the last lane here, and the lane that is probably best, is this bot lane right here. So as it is, it's a 2 vs 3. Brew and Slatter into more classic PL, and well, I wouldn't say classic, but into something like a standard range support melee carry lane, and with a roaming bottom. So this is a lane that has a lot of kill potential, or at least a lot of harass and damage potential from DotA. They've got heroes with 2 pretty good slows and nukes. You know, Slardar stun is pretty good for the slow after it as well. You know, it's a 1.25 stun, but it's a 20% slow for 2 seconds afterwards. So it's actually about 3 seconds of disable, and you combine that with a 4-second 25% movement slow here. It's pretty good. You combine that with an Orb of Venom. That's like the 50% slow all up. Nobody's going anywhere. It is into a PL. It's harder to kill a PL. A lot of PLs don't go doppelganger early because they go like aggressive, and you can make them pay for that. But yeah, all 3 heroes from Radiant are a little bit hard to gank, but that's fine. Like, this is still the place where you can make an impact. Yeah, not great teamwork there, but we'll go back to Bounty here. So we've walked back mid, and now I don't think he got seen because he's tucked right in behind those trees, so that's fine. You can see Lina as a hero is also just naturally going to push the wave. Anytime she uses spells, it's naturally going to push the wave, so it's hard to gank as Bounty. So we've got Hayden has got the right idea for most of it, but the execution and the application of those ideas is difficult. So you see here, there's an arrow coming out from Mirana. This is another element of roaming that we should address. We talked about Bounty a little bit in a vacuum, in isolation so far, but the enemy team most of the time will also have a roamer. And what that means is they're going to be trying to do the same things as you are. This is really good. The first time Cooper Trooper walks up the lane, oh, that's unfortunate. First time he walks up, Hayden is actually right there to get him, but a good arrow comes out from the bottom and puts a dent to that. But you see how, even still, it's difficult to take this guy down. But anyway, so if your aggressive potential as a roamer is pretty negligible, you have to look at your defensive potential, or the enemy's aggressive potential. And what that means is how much the enemy roamer threatens to kill your lanes. And if that's high, like an arrow into like anything mid lane, 90% of the time it's a kill, even if it's very unreliable. So the way you have to look at it is try to just get vision on them and nullify them. If you can nullify the enemy roaming movements, then you've created a draw. Then that can be a win. A draw can be a win if the enemy has much more aggressive potential. That's what DotA means for it to be situational. There's also a really strong combo, you know, SD into Mirana. So if he can scout that out for his bot lane, that's really good. I want to go back and talk about movements just for a second. So right now it's coming up to 4 minutes here, and Hayden's gone down behind tower into the bot lane. This isn't a good play, and I'll tell you why. There's nothing that's going to result of this vision. They're not going to dive tower. His teammates are over here, so there's nothing that's going to result in this play. He's also not going to stop anything because of the time. He's not going to stop. The only thing he could stop is the stacking of the camp by being here. That's the only thing he could stop. So it could be a good play, but that's not really happening. So seeing this, what he should be doing is for the runes, right? As bounty, one thing I've learned is these bounty runes themselves pretty underwhelming. The real runes are where it's at. The real runes are twice as important and game winning as the other. So if you imagine this regen was right here or something, you know, and the bottom were to be low health and take it, that's pretty game winning. But as it is anyway, Hayden doesn't go for any of the runes and loses them all, or at least loses the relevant ones. So that is a big XP and gold swing in favor of the bottom and against the bounty, right? Pretty major. So we're looking at level 3 against level 2. And you can imagine how big the nuke difference is right now. So Pottom's put that extra level into Sacred Arrow, so it's 100 extra nuke damage. You'd say the same about Starfall, basically. And the same is true about Shuriken. This is 150 damage. So let's say if Bounty was level 3 and Pottom was level 2, then the Radiant would have 150 less nuke damage to play with. And the Dire would have 150 more nuke damage to play with. So if there was a fight to break out right here, right now, That's a huge swing to whichever team has that one small incremental lead. And that incremental lead is due to controlling the runes, right? The runes themselves. You take it take it from the enemy and give it to yourself is twice as good as just getting it from a neutral creep that wasn't going to anybody. If you can take it from the enemy, that's a conceptual thing you should wrap your head around and get from. That's why map pressure is good, right? If you're farming a lane and the enemy is not farming the lane, that's twice as good as you both farming the lane, right? Okay, so we'll end that. So right now, 4 minutes into the game, he's got to the right stage. This is where he wants to be. There's a really good way of thinking about MMRs most of the time. Actually, I'll talk about that later. So we're straight onto the PL, right? And you see how much threat he's under. He doesn't have Doppelganger. This is exactly where he needed to be. Imagine if he has the Shuriken, right? Yeah, that would have been easier. He wouldn't have to dive harder, he wouldn't have been arrowed, and maybe they get even easier kills. So that's good. The moment he went to the right lane is the moment it clicked, it rewarded him. So that's really good. Playing with your teammates' aggressive potential is the best thing you can do as bounty. So yeah, that comment that I wanted to make about MMR differentials is, I think BSJ said it, or I heard it from BSJ first, and it makes a lot of sense that most of the time, people, even a legend bracket, or maybe a bit lower, get the game, basically. They get the game. It's just about how fast they can process things, and how fast they can play the game, and how effectively and efficiently, right? That's the difference between good and bad, right? It's all about efficiency, right? So, for example, if Hayden was a little bit quicker, maybe he gets that courier. And if he gets that courier, he gets that much more gold and makes the next thing easier. So it's a snowballing effect, that's what it means. If you're a lower MMR player than a higher MMR player, you will probably get to the right area eventually. It's just a matter of time. So this is a really unfortunate play right there. It's not unfortunate at all, actually. It's just reading the game state badly. So if Hayden was to do this at a different time, I'm going to replay back. This should be a good example of how we can assess gank potential, right? So this is just bad timing. It's an okay play, just really bad timing, and not recognizing why it is bad timing. Okay, so we've got 2 levels in Shadow Walk, and that's to snipe the flying courier. So he's actually learnt from me, that's good, but that has hindered his nuke potential. Anyway, so the Clockwork's level 6 is full health, full mana, 10 stick charges, 1,100 plus health, very difficult to kill. Level 5 Lino, right? Level 5 Lino with only 300 mana, so she can basically do 2 spells. She's basically got 2 spells. On simple maths, right? Quick maths. They do not have the damage to kill Clockwork, right? They do not have the damage. Clockwork is level 6. Hookshot's down, but Battery Assault's gonna do a number, right? He has enough damage to kill them both, basically. So right off the bat, you cannot kill the enemy. The enemy can kill you. That's not looking good, right? So this isn't something that should be attempted in the first place. On those parameters. Second, look at the positioning here, right? He's right on top of his high ground. He's got some creeps. His creep wave is bigger than the enemy creep wave right now. He's also got a catapult, which is kind of irrelevant to this, but anyway. So not only is the mana and the damage out, but the positioning is also out. If Clockwork was here, if he was under Die Tower, maybe you go on it. Maybe you do that. If he was here, maybe you go on him. But he's here, right? So this is, I'll show in slow-mo. So we're going in for some harass. Oh, my vape boy is going to be saying to his Lina, we can do some damage, like use your nukes, we can kill him maybe. But look at that, right? They just simply don't have the damage. Now he's walked under tower to make this kill. So he's either not thought about it at all or been super confident they had the damage. But he's just assessed the situation really, really wrong. So when you're playing the game, you have to make that assessment yourself, right? That's what it means to be playing DotA. And trying to execute good DotA. Okay. So, one more thing. If Hayden was watching here, he would have seen... when you're playing a support especially, but any hero, but especially a support, you want to be looking at the enemy movements and the enemy heroes. So he just saw, I'll replay this, he just saw the enemy Mirana, I'll show Dire Vision, just saw the enemy Mirana walk up to mid, carrying a ward, place ward right there, bang. Easy D ward, easy D ward. So when you're not doing anything, when you're not hitting creeps basically, as bounty, you want to be looking at enemy supports in their inventories, and that'll help you a lot. Back to bot now. He's made the right call. He's corrected his mistake. That's really good. He's gone straight back down bot, and look what happens. Easy kill. And now the PL's not farming. He's under pressure. Tower's under a little bit of pressure. This is what he wants, right? This is much better. So at this point, as a bounty, you can either continue to try to get kills, or you can do what I said before and try to stop the enemy getting kills, right? By providing vision, right? That's how you do it. You provide vision and see the kills coming. So what he could have done is scout it out. We'll stop and make the assessment. Where is the enemy team going to get kills? Where is their aggressive potential, right? The strongest hero on the map, the guy with initiation, is this Clockwork with level 7. And this Mirana, right? It's these two heroes, right? These are the two heroes. Clockwork is been playing mid. He's not there anymore, so that should automatically tell you that's dangerous, right? They've got complete vision bot, right? So that should automatically tell you that they're not there, or at least they're back in the trees. So he's kind of doing the right thing in a sense, by providing vision to facilitate an attack. But this is where the weakness is. So this is like, if you're playing, for those trying to play bounty, try to tell your teammates, if you're being aggressive somewhere else, that should mean that you play defensive on the other side of the map. It should mean that. But Dota's a hard game. So Drow gonna get caught out here. Good hook shot. If Hayden could spot out the rotation, like when Clockwork was in here, if Hayden stayed on the Clockwork and saw him TP, he should have been able to tell the Drow, hey, Clockwork's TPing 90% going to your lane, so run away. Fortunately that doesn't happen. What also doesn't happen is getting a return kill. These guys are only level 5, so they don't have their ults. It'd be much easier to kill PL with ults. But he's still making the right macro play. Right, he's applying pressure in mostly the right areas. But he's diving tower pretty badly there. And he's gonna escape because there's no dust. But yeah, a few errors in application, but that's fine. So I'll fast forward this a little bit. You know, he has no health or mana, so he can't contribute, right? If you don't have any health or mana as bounty and you can't contribute, unless you're providing absolutely critical vision, you just gotta leave. Like, you just gotta leave and get health and mana, even if you use a shrine, you know. So back to bot lane. He's made the right call here again. Good play, good play, and he gets semi-rewarded for it. They trade kills. Bounty dies first, so that's unfortunate for him. But yeah. Nice play from Clock. Nice play from Clock there. So, here we go. So he's back to the right area again, and this time Lena's there. So look at this. This is good. Finally being rewarded. Oh no, he's tanked another arrow. Oh, it's all a bait. Look at that, look at that. That's what you want to be doing, right? That's what you want to be doing. Playing with your team, and then you turn team kills into objectives. That's what you want to be doing. Unfortunately, doesn't have level 6, so no track money. The timings for bounty level 6 are a little bit difficult with the bounty. Because you're roaming, you won't be getting a lot of natural XP from lane. So you're at risk of being underleveled. So that's why it's doubly important for you to be securing bounty runes as your only natural way to... Oh no. Okay, that was so to finish my comment, you want to be getting bounty runes, especially to keep up your level progression. The standard timing will be somewhere between, for level 6, the standard timing will be somewhere between 10 and 12 minutes. You wanna get the tome as well. The tome is like basically core on bounty, as core as any other hero. For this reason, like it's basically going to spring you from roughly here to almost 6. So that's really good, really important. Okay, so from here, this is a fine ward. This is a good ward. And we'll go into... Yeah, okay. So what's happened there is he's gone in his, they've seen him do that, and then he stays in the same place and he earns. So that's not good. The quick fix to that play is to, first of all, not go invis, or not use your invis skill when you are like under vision, and the second fix is not to... Oh, wait a sec, he didn't use earn, somebody earned him. He just stayed in the same spot. Yeah, the quick fix is just to not go invis, like not show yourself at all. That's basically it. Don't show yourself at all until the moment of truth, right? Until the critical point where you're striking. Because if the enemy gets on top of you, this is liable to happen, right? Bounty's not a... By conception, Bounty's not a hero that does well if the enemy team jumps on him. He's got no natural defense, he's got no natural mobility, he's got nothing. He's the guy, if you're a Bounty team, you have to go on the enemy team. That's basically how it is. The caveat to that is Bounty is quite often a really fantastic bait. So it didn't happen there. Nice sentry there, by the way. It would have been nice to do it 5 minutes ago, but that's fine play. I think it was a bit of a lucky guess more than anything. But yeah, good to D-Ward. So Bounty can be a really good bait to finish that train of thought, because you will often be in aggressive positions with your team behind you, so your formation is naturally good for that. I just want to highlight, he's walking around a lot, not invis. He only became invis here, and that's really bad, because you're at risk of showing yourself prematurely to these kind of wards. So anytime you think, even if there's a small chance of the enemy seeing you, just be invis. Go invis during the trees. So I just want to finish that thought and then go to the fight here. So to finish the thought about Bounty being a good bait, is the enemy team, you're naturally in a good position to be a bait, and secondly, you won't see it right now, but naturally as Bounty you build defensive items. So that's a Force Staff and a Lotus and like a pipe or something like that. They're the 3 items that come to my mind, and they make you super tanky, right? So naturally you can kind of take a hit and then get back, or at least that's how I played Bounty. So it didn't happen there. He went on and his entire team crumbled. Unfortunate, but sometimes that can work out well. So right now with the fight, so it doesn't have a lot of mana. He's got basically 2 tracks, an invis and a shuriken. If he's lucky, I think he's got maybe 1 track, an invis and a shuriken. But yeah, so especially when you don't have a lot of mana to play with, you've got limited spell use, it's really important to prioritize your targets. So with this tracking, who has he tracked? He tracked the Shadow Demon, and that's okay, mainly. But there is a priority target, and that priority target is Weaver, right? The guy who needs to be seen. Fortunately, they've got a Slardar too, so he's doing the similar kind of thing. But it is very important as Bounty to have priorities in your tracking. So Lena's gone on. It's a bit of an awkward fight. He doesn't want to... I like that he's staying back and just tracking targets. It's very awkward for Vape Boy to walk up here. There's nothing to shuriken here. If he was to shuriken, it'd be a shuriken hero, and if he was to walk up, he would die like the starter. So this is good to just play back. He's walked a little far forward. There's nothing left for him now. There's nothing left for him. Drow's in jungle. Team's not going to do anything. So, sad bounty right now. The team fighting is hard. He went arcanes this game, and I think that's fine. I don't think he was involved in enough kills to justify an early earn. Didn't get the early mana. Sorry, didn't get the other thing. As you can see, he's already low on mana, so it's going to be important. Okay, so that's an okay play. That's what you really want. That's really good that he's providing vision like that. When the enemy team breaks up and you can get a cheeky track on the side, that's really good. Unfortunately, his Slardar's overcommitted, and now he's been seen. Aha, the bait. This is what I'm talking about. That's a bait right there. It's also bad play from the clock, but that's what I'm talking about. The enemy team will like try to commit to you. Here we go, tracking the Weaver again. That's really, really good. Now he's out of mana though, so it's really difficult for them to continue the fight. Okay, so they get another kill. Now the track money's rolling in. If they can get to the shrine, they'll be fine. No, I didn't go shrine. Okay. So look at that. There's the track into invis. That should be a kill. Dust is worn off, which is really good. So look at the arcanes helping the brew, right? The arcanes helping the brew and helping the Lina. So that's earn is really good for extended fights and sustaining through them. But so is arcanes. So unfortunate that the clock got a cleanup kill there, but that was really good play overall. Really fantastic situation for bounty there. You got like 5 track kills, just an extended fight. That's what you want to be participating in as bounty, and you want to do it like he did there. You just want to be sitting at the back, tracking as much as you can and providing shurikens. Unfortunately, he didn't have the mana to use shuriken a whole lot, but his team had nuke damage anyway. But you really, if I was to say, how would you improve that play? Have mana for shuriken, and then if you can get, in the space of that fight, that's like a minute long, right? You'll get about 6, or give or take 6 shuriken tracks. Shurikens with tracks, right? So that's gonna be like 6 times 300 is 1800. So if that was single target, it'd be 1800. If he got double tracks every time on average, that would be 18 times 2. So he would do, over a course of a minute, he'd do 3,500 magic damage, which is enough to like kill their entire team, like once maybe. Alright, maybe not. It's enough to kill half their team, right? So that's the improvement that you want to have. That's why it's... Whoa! Jesus Christ, what a blow. Yeah, so that's why it's important to have mana, so you can actually contribute damage. So now we're getting more tracks. Game is going much better for his team. What he really needs is Slarder to have a blink. Because you see why here, right? They really struggle to initiate. They're just kind of awkwardly running him down. And now he's run all the way to the shrine, so the comeback potential from the enemy team is right there. If they get more TPs like this, double damage PL, right? Lina gonna die from this surely. Yeah, so if they had cleaner initiation, Lina wouldn't die. But that's okay, they get a track kill on the PL, so that's nice. So right now, after a one fight like this, what didn't happen previously over here was getting a tower. What happened after here is they all just fizzled out and went their separate ways. But after this long extended engagement from here, they can push a tower. Right, so this is really good. This fight is 3 times as good as the one over here because it results in taking control of the map, or taking the enemy's towers, which removes their control, right? So at this stage, what you want your team to be doing is taking that tower. As bounty, you can't take towers yourself. So what you want to be doing is exactly what he's about to right here, is going to ward. So you can put wards, like in this situation, a ward here is pretty good, you know, a ward maybe on Ancients, you can even walk around and put a ward up here or something. Any deep vision is really good. But especially against another invis team, you want to pair that with sentries so that this kind of situation doesn't happen. Hayden again is walking around while not invis and is being seen right now. He's being seen by the Potom. So what the Potom can do is scout out his movements and dust him and kill him, right? And that is exactly what has happened. So again, that's the common theme in the number one thing in Vape Boy's bounty play is he's walking around visible too much. He's just not playing bounty hunter, right? He's not being invis. He's not being sneaky. So the moment he does that, is the moment his effectiveness is going to double. Because the enemy team won't see him. He can be, yeah, it's basically 10 times. So he did place a ward, and that looks like it's going to stay there because the enemy team won't undo it. So right now he's making move bot, and that's good. He's doing the same role. Probably shouldn't try to track the PL. Some heroes are not worth tracking. PL is kind of one of them. Anything like Abaddon, you know? Yeah, that's a nice play. That is a really nice play. So I want to go back up here. Because this is doing something really well that I don't think he's conscious of. And that's playing the high ground. Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But the map is split into sections, right? And if you follow this high ground here, this high ground is all in the jungle. And it makes these camps especially, and this camp to a lesser degree, pretty dangerous to farm. Because the enemy team can walk up without you seeing them, right? As opposed to here, right? The enemy team is going to be walking up either through here, which is easy to cover with vision, or through here, and then you see them as they see you, right? You see them as they see you. If they want to get to you on top of the high ground, they have to walk all the way around and then get behind you. That's not true here. The angle is much more natural, so it's easier to invade Radiant jungle because of that. Or at least it's harder to hold control of it. So what he's doing right now is good. He's playing this high ground, right? He's just controlling this territory, providing vision, and anytime the enemy team walks up like this, you go on them, you just snap them. The enemy team walks out of position, smack them, kill them, easy. So he's also placing a sentry, which is really good after this kill. And that, I think, is actually gonna... Oh, don't tell me he misses out on those wards. Does he? Okay, he gets the observer. So then he has to run out of decision. Whoa. Alright, so that's good. That's good. Now having these wards now mean that any time that the bounty hunter team want to come and invade this territory, they have vision there already, so the ganks can be much more focused and effective. So that's good play. That's really good play. So I'll talk about itemization now. So Hayden's going for a blink dagger. I think the way he told me his reason this game it was a bit of a meme purchase. He'd been asking his Slaughter or his brew to get blinks, and they don't. So he basically said, "I'll get a blink and I'll show you how it's done," or some shit like that. Just a bit of a meme purchase. So it's not the best in the world. It's also not the worst in the world. Blink dagger when you're bounty and far ahead is really fun, is really good and effective because it allows you to play super aggressive, right? You can walk in aggressive, place a track, blink out, right? It's actually more of a means of escape than anything. You can also play aggressive, like blinking, like tracking up and then blinking into shuriken, so it makes shuriken easier. But it's really bad defensively. So right now the enemy team goes on them and there's very little that he can do, right? If I was to say what his ideal purchase would be this game, I would say 4 stuff, 100% hands down every time. And that is mainly Whoa, that's nice. That's a nice play. He's gonna die for it, and that's probably worth it. It's a nice play. So yeah, the force stuff. The force stuff is really good because of this here. Right, if you can force staff your enemy out, that's really good. Especially with like a drow strat, positioning is super important. So, you know, that's why the drow and the Lina both have force staffs, right? Because their positioning is super important. They see the danger. If your support has one too, makes it so much easier, so much more effective. So yeah, look, we'll continue on with the play here. So right now, what should be happening is the brew and the slider have like initiation, and when your team has initiation, you can go as a team and smoke gank, right? What they should be doing is making use of these wards and going to smoke gank the enemy and turn that into towers or Roshan. So Roshan's really important for a Drastra as well. As you know, they've got a slider, it's super easy. An alternative item for bounty this game is the medallion. That's pretty good. Medallion and or pipe. Maybe not pipe actually. Pipe's pretty superfluous. So this ward here is a little bit, it's kind of warding the wrong area basically. This area of the map is the least valuable in the game right now, because the valuable area is here. The valuable area is Roche and these ancients, right? The ancients is where the farm is. So unless they were specifically planning on getting a kill here, which is pretty unlikely, then that's a bit of a waste of a ward. What really should be, where the wards you want to have are like wards like this and wards like this. These are two good wards, and this is a better ward. It's like the same ward as down here, but it's just warding the wrong area. You could even, you'd much rather have that ward like here, you know, for making this tower push easier. But he has like 2 extra wards, so it's like, yeah, whatever. He's gonna have more. So where does he go now? Where does he place this one? Okay, invis. This is why it's super good to have sentries with your wards against invis heroes. It makes it more expensive, but it makes the vision actually reliable. You know, they have to smoke past it in order for them to. Excuse me, walk around it. So the drow's been gone on with, and that's bad. And you see why this ward is kind of iffy. Like what the vision wants is like to provide vision so that they can get ganks and push towers, or defensively so that they can see the hook work. So that they can see the clock hook. Yeah, so the game is kind of, the teamwork on DotA is really bad, and it's pretty good on Radiant. Radiant's playing together and playing for objectives. Wait, how did bounty get seen? So that's really hard for a bounty situation. So yeah, that's unfortunate. So he's got the track off. That's a really good example of why you kind of have to be very careful and continuously moving. Continually make the enemy not know where you are. If you track and then stay in the same place, that's really bad. Hayden's done that a couple of times. So he did that here, where he went invis, and then he stayed there, and he tracked and then stayed there again. He had the blink. That's what blink should enable you to do, right? You track from here, and then you blink over here, and you run back. But the game's kind of spiraling out of control, so that's pretty unfortunate. Yeah. In another situation, if he was to be going on here and he had a blink, sorry, if he had like a full stuff, maybe he like walks over and forces to the low ground, and maybe he lives by that. Probably not, but that's something that a force can help you with over a blink. So this game I really just wanted to talk about bounty, but the team play is important too. Right, so right now, DotA really should be like clearing this wave out as quickly as possible and then smoking his 5. Try to get a kill, try to get the Roche, right? Radiant should be immediately going to the Roche and setting up vision. Another team is really doing that. So as Bounty, what you would try to do is like just facilitate that. You don't want to be part of the smoke as much. You want to be providing vision for where the smoke is going to. So in a game like this where everybody is just kind of farming, you want to encourage your team to make a better play. But if they don't, there's only so much you can do. And what you can do is just try to keep your idiots safe, basically, right? So Drow is just super overextended. The only way as Bounty you could help that is by providing vision. Like, basically, there are some supports like a Dazzle who just play behind their carry, and if the enemy goes on the carry, you grave and help them and they get away. Bounty's like a proactive version of that. Bounty's like, if your carry is farming here, all you should be trying to do is provide vision here, and provide vision here, right? So the enemy team can't get to your carry in the first place. I think that Drow was probably gonna ignore vision no matter what happens, so don't sweat too much about that. But yeah. So it's a rough game for Bounty. He's going for a medallion after. Good play. It's good mainly because like it's good in any game, honestly. But it's also very good because of the Weaver, who's like a natural deso builder, naturally lowers your armor with swarm. So yeah. So it's Bounty constantly trying to track, especially that Weaver. Keep that Weaver tracked. What the fuck? That Slider just altered the crew. Alright. Yeah. And anytime you can, like, harass with Shuriken. So what should happen is he has like 3 people tracked by now, so that when they go in, especially, he's able to do something. But he's not really doing it. I think it's like he's letting the game go real badly. So you can see, actually, I want to pause to make a comment. You can see how bad going Arax down and playing from behind is really awful for Bounty. It's not a hero that does it well. He doesn't have wave clear. Track can get you back into the game because it gives you items. So track is an effective comeback mechanic because it can solve issues that you have, right? If there's a hero that's super good at lowering your armor and you kill him a time or two, maybe you get a medallion and you can solve that issue, right? So that's why track is a good comeback mechanic. Bounty himself, as a physical hero, is not. He can't deal with creep waves, right? So going Arax down and having lanes pushed in is really bad for Bounty. So what should happen is Lina is the only hero really with wave clear, so he should be nuking this wave out as much as he can, so that Bounty can go do his role on heroes. We'll go back to the fight. He's just walked up and tanked an arrow and stuff into the face, so not good play. Hey, not good play. Don't try to take the enemy head on. Just wait for your time. That's. I'll show that again. This is exactly what not to do. What not to do, right? What you don't walk up and try to shuriken like a hero, because this is what's gonna happen. Try to shuriken a creep on the side. Try to shuriken somebody who's not looking. Shuriken from behind and then blink away. You can't just walk up from the front, because this is what's gonna happen. You're gonna get stunned. You're gonna get nuked. You're gonna get slowed and dusted, and you're gonna die. So take that lesson and learn that. Yeah, Bounty, play from the back. So the game is drawing to an end. At this point, it's kind of unwinnable. Oh, it's not at all, but it's unwinnable for these players. So I don't think they know what to do. Even if they know what to do, I don't think they have the coordination. So yeah, you can see as well, Bounty doesn't have a way to deal with a PL. Like, it's the same with creeps, the same principle with creeps. He's got no wave clear, he's got no AoE, he's got nothing that can really do that. So he's super reliant on the Lina for that. So yeah, there are some heroes that Bounty matches up pretty well against, and they're like the single target ones. So a Drow, for example, BH is really good at getting on top of a Drow, right? Track move speed helps you get in and get out, right? Helps you maintain within touch, if that makes sense. So it's a good hero against that. But PL is a hero with a lot of natural mobility, same thing as Clockwork, a lot of natural mobility. So it's hard to, like, and when I say natural mobility, I mean really short, sharp jumps, right? So hook, like immediately gonna break distance. Doppelganger, immediately gonna break some distance or get over some terrain. So that's the difference. So here we go, they're going for Roche, they're actually doing it. They should have done this 10 or 15 minutes ago, but this is why they're not good, right? It takes them too long to make the right play. Oh, that is a nice arrow. Holy shit. That's like a max stun. So back to Bounty, tracking up, they get the Roche, so that's good. So track again, and yeah, that's what you want. There's your contribution. Right. So he's got another. That was really good, and a good fight by Hayden. I want to see what he's actually doing when Roche was happening, because he needs to be scouting. He doesn't have wards at the moment, but he's got a haster and he's trying to scout, right? So he should scout the Clockwork above all, right? So that rocket tells him where he is, and he's looking for the clock. That's, yeah, okay. So when that rocket shows, so when that rocket gets flared and the rocket lands in Roche Pit, what that should tell you as Bounty Hunter is the Roche knows. The Clockwork knows they're taking Roche. So his next move is to immediately go towards that Roche Pit. So, we're going to replay it. So this is going to be true of all objectives and when you're trying to serve this role as Bounty Hunter. So you can apply this elsewhere and it will be true. Okay, there we go. So rocket is going. I'm going to wait for it to hit pit. Alright, so it's basically hit pit right there. I don't think Hayden saw the clock at all. Yeah, he didn't. But he saw the trajectory. So what he should do is basically see the clock is going to be going straight there. He's either going to go this path right here on the right, or he's going to walk up the left, right? So what Hayden should do is either go in front or go behind. Most of the time if you go in front, they're going to have a sentry there. So it's really dangerous. What you should probably do is go behind, right? What he ends up actually doing is walking back into here. And this is really bad because there's no objective here. There's no link between this area and the Roche. The Clockwork is trying to bridge the area between him, right here, and the Roche, which means these two paths. This area here is not one of these two paths. Alright? So that's the way you've got to think about playing around your enemy, right? What does my enemy want? What is the enemy's path to that? And where can I intercept, or how can I impact that? So he fights this pretty well, right? He's placing sentries, he's tracking up targets, he's shurikening. If he was to shuriken a creep like right now, that would be like that's the way to do it. But he's going on here already. Yeah. So on a micro level, that thought process applies to Roche. On a macro level, it's the same as true for everything. If you rename Roche and towers, if you rename towers into like a creep wave or whatever, you know, the same is true. That's the thought process. So you'll see again, Bounty does not deal with creep waves well. Just can't. He's losing to the creep wave. He just gives up on it. Lets the brew deal with it. So yeah. So there's been some positives. There's been some negatives. A lot of this is like pretty. It's basically fixable. It's a very I don't even want to use the word fixable. It's very improvable. There's no perfection, right? But you can make things better. So that's good. Providing vision, playing from the back. Now this is a fight from the top. So right there, this is why you don't like use track. This is why you have priorities when using track. Let it catch up. Alright, so blink in. Don't track the PL, right? You track the weaver's dead. So the priority then goes to the guys like the supports, right? The guys who are trying to weave in and out of the fight. That's your next priority. And it's also an additional priority because if the guys at the back are tracked and you shuriken the guys at the front, that's how you naturally deal the most amount of damage, right? So the first guy you shuriken doesn't have to be tracked for him to be shuriken, right? Only the additional people need to be tracked, right? So you track the guy at the back, you hit the guy at the front, and both of them get hit. So if he was to shuriken now, that's how you do it. Yeah. Okay. So it's good tracking the guys that are invis. This is what you want to full stuff for. He's fine because he's got the drow there. But yeah, so right there he should have shurikened the shadow demon. It would have hit all three. But that's by and large okay. So retracking the bottom. This is why you can't walk up with a bounty. You can almost never walk up. You can only walk up when you're finishing the fight. You can't walk up when it's in the middle of it. And it's also why it's really important to have defensive items, like tanky items, so that you can even get a hit in at all. It's just the nature of how bounty scales. So yeah, that's unfortunate. They get a lot of track money, which is nice. So the lead's back down to 5k gold. Experience back down earlier. Or is he gonna die? Oh, he is fucking shadow them. What a hero. What a hero. Alright, so this is pretty bad. One of these guys should be buying back, if not 2 or 3. Dude, why are they not buying back? They're fucking... There's 3 of them can buy back. They can win this, but... Oh my god. Just let your tier 4s die. Let your ancient die. Alright, let your barracks die too. Alright, GG. Yeah, okay. So bounty trying to address the ancient. Oh, can't deal with that shit, man. I'm just fuck the fight. Just look at this. Just look at this. Can't deal with that. Just can't deal with that. You can't even draw him to fountain because more keep coming. Ah, another clockworks on. Alright, get wrecked, kiddo. Alright, GG. We'll call it there. I tried to do that as quickly as I could. I talked about a lot of different things. I hope there's a lot of relevant stuff at different levels of play. I tried to focus on looking at different levels of play and to teach you the kind of the thought process and the analytical process, the decision making process, right? And then you apply that to the situation you find yourself in. The best players won't be focusing on adapting to the situation at hand. That's something you do secondary. The best players, you try to be proactive, you try to adapt, you try to make the gameplay favorable and then go into it and then try to execute it, right? So that's all about drafting and like greater map movements rather than the micro fighting in the moment play. Oh boy. Okay. I can't think of much else to say about this game beyond you need a fucking Blink Dagger as Slatter, and I think you need a Blink Dagger as Brewmaster. As far as Bounty goes, that's the big issue for him this game, a lack of initiation. Like, Bounty isn't an initiation hero himself, right? Bounty is a hero that provides vision for an initiation. The only initiation Bounty has is Janata, right? A very weak slow. You know, and especially until you level it. Like even at 30%, it's like pretty meh. You know, when the enemy team has a doppelganger and four staffs and Lotus and later on in the game, whatever, it's like negligible. What he does have is track and invis, so that's your role. What you need are follow-up heroes. Follow-up heroes are absolutely vital. So the follow-up heroes in his team this game, if I can go back to it. Yep. So the follow-up heroes, the initiation heroes to his vision, is the Slaughter and the Brute. They don't have blinks. Shit happens. Very unfortunate. The best initiation heroes are guys like Storm. Storm is like the king. You know, if you can have maybe an Invoker's pretty good at it too. A Puck is pretty good at it too. Co-op's okay. You know, heroes like that. Even this is why Bounty works with late game heroes as well. It's not just early game kind of push or teamfight heroes. If you get a hard farmer like an anti-mage or even a void to a lesser degree, what you can do, especially guys like Doom, man, the Doom, like what these three with Doom and Void and anti-mage, a farm the anti-mage give you is Blink Abyssal, right? Blink or Time Walk Chrono, right? Blink Doom, right? These are three abilities that if you provide vision for them and they have a mobility, have any kind of mobility, they can take advantage of that vision, right? They can get instantly and bang, that guy's fucked, right? He's doomed, man. He's doomed. So, you know, to a lesser extent, you can do that with Lifestealer too. Like, he can infest you, and then you walk up and you drop the bomb on their head, right? So that's the idea. That's what lacked this game. That's the only other big point that I wanted to make. So I'll end it there, guys. I had a lot of fun making this video. Hope you guys got something out of it. Hope you enjoy the rest of the Bounty Hunters Black Book. Look out for more. Cheers.